welcome you to a deep dive into the unsettling corners of human experience and perception. Today, we're looking at 3 deeply disturbing accounts. We're sort of treating them like case studies, really.
Yeah, trying to understand what makes them tick, what makes them so terrifying.
Exactly. To unearth key insights into, the psychology of fear, the dynamics of control, and sometimes the truly unexplainable. These aren't just chilling stories. They're almost like blueprints for understanding how our sense of security can be, systematically eroded.
Precisely. And these narratives, they're really rich data points for understanding how the mundane can just slip into the terrifying.
Right.
We'll explore the patterns, the implications that go, far beyond just the surface horror, looking at how ordinary situations can escalate into profound psychological torment and sometimes physical threats too.
That's our mission then. To uncover the most unsettling details, those moments where the lines between reality and nightmare just blurred, and to try and understand the mechanisms at play. So let's unpack these harrowing accounts together.
Okay.
Our first account. It starts with something pretty universal, the joy of finding a new home. Imagine finding your dream house with your partner. It's a perfect fit. You've even got a rescued cat, Bella, completing the picture.
Sounds idyllic almost.
Almost. But right from the start, there were these subtle cracks in the picture. The house next door looked abandoned, and the property behind it often had young men just cutting through the unfenced back gardens. This open access, even before they'd fully settled, it already hinted at a lack of clear boundaries.
And that initial detail, the lack of a secure boundary, that's often a prelude to deeper intrusions. It establishes a kind of vulnerability.
Right.
It invites the psychological testing of limits, maybe before any physical breach even happens. It's like an open invitation, whether it's meant that way or not.
And that invitation, it was answered on their very first night. They're sitting in their back garden, and they notice a man staring blankly at them from a window of the house behind.
Blankly?
Yeah, for half an hour. No expression, just observe. They tried to brush it off, maybe just curiosity. But that prolonged, unblinking stare, it sets a deeply unsettling precedent, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It immediately establishes a power dynamic. That sustained, expressionless stare isn't just curiosity. It's a deliberate act of intimidation through ambiguity. It suggests an underlying surveillance, and it's a classic tactic, really, to make someone feel exposed and watched. It erodes their sense of privacy before a single word is even exchanged.
And the situation escalated pretty quickly. A few nights later, 3 men just appeared in their garden.
Yeah.
It simply let themselves in through that open access.
Just walked in.
Yep. When the narrator asked if they were okay, the youngest, maybe around 29, offered them stolen washing up tablets from this big bag he was carrying.
Stolen washing tablets.
Yeah. The sheer audacity, the feeling that they acted like they had every right to be there, it was deeply unsettling.
Okay, this act isn't just trespassing anymore. It's a deliberate breach of personal space. It's an assertion of dominance, and it's disguised under this, bizarre, almost comical offer.
Right.
This isn't just about theft. It's a test of boundaries, a brazen intimidation tactic. It's designed to gauge their reaction, establish psychological control. It's actually a very calculated move, seeing how much they can get away with.
And the pattern continued. These men would frequently enter the garden, acting in ways clearly meant to intimidate the 2 women. They were both just 20 years old.
So young, vulnerable.
Exactly. There was a brief moment of hope, though. Police were seen searching the abandoned garden next door, and a few days later, they learned the men from the house behind had been evicted. Antisocial behavior.
Some relief then.
Huge relief. But it was short-lived. Yeah. So just as things seemed to calm down, the vulnerability they felt was about to be exposed in a much more aggressive way. One day, the narrator's in the bath, and there's this loud bang.
Okay.
She runs to find her girlfriend recording from a spare bedroom window. There's a man they'd never seen before, pointing up at their window, that he sprints to their house, tries their door handle, then runs back to the empty house next door and starts banging on all its windows. They called the police, who took a statement, but that question just hung there. What was he planning?
Right. And the shift from a known group, even if unpleasant, to a new, unknown individual, and that direct attempt on the door handle, that signifies a dangerous escalation.
Definitely.
This moves beyond general intimidation. It's now a specific, targeted physical threat. It suggests a more personal agenda. The initial testing of boundaries has progressed to direct attempts at invasion.
The terror just kept mounting. Middle of the night, they hear whistling. The narrator described it as the kind of whistle men used to harass women, followed by tapping on their window and their cameras. Inexplicably, didn't record anything.
Convenient.
They were so terrified, they actually fled to the narrator's mother's house for the night. The next morning, they come back, their Ring doorbell. Found removed, placed on the floor, SD card gone.
Oh, that's chilling.
Someone had clearly returned. The police warned them the camera being removed could be a sign that they were planning something.
That incident reveals a chilling sophistication, doesn't it? The deliberate disabling of the camera suggests forethought, a clear intent to obscure evidence. It just amplifies the victim's sense of helplessness.
It's like a statement.
Exactly. It's a psychological statement. We know your defenses and we can bypass them.
So the absolute peak of the terror struck about 3 weeks later. They're checking their live camera feed. It's 2:52 a.m. They see a man outside, masked and hooded, standing in their garden.
Oh, God.
And he's got his arms spread wide, like he was imitating Jesus on the cross, staring at their window, head tilted. Then he speaks words they can't make out. Then he moves across the street and just stands there, staring at their house for 30 minutes.
Just staring.
They called the police again. This time, they were basically dismissed, told it wasn't illegal to stare at someone's property. That must have felt incredibly frustrating, almost invalidating their fear.
Absolutely. And that dismissal is often as traumatizing as the act itself. It reveals a critical gap, you know? Legal frameworks are often geared towards overt physical crimes, and they struggle with this kind of nuanced, sustained psychological warfare.
Yeah.
The perpetrators, they exploit this gray area. They use ambiguous actions like that Jesus on the cross pose. It's not necessarily about physical harm at that moment, but maximizing terror, maintaining control, knowing they're just outside legal reach.
Is it calculated?
Extremely. That whole sequence, the mask, the symbolic pose, operating in the dead of night, the devil's hour, as some call it exemplifies a sophisticated form of psychological intimidation. It's designed to induce what psychologists call learned helplessness, where victims feel this profound loss of agency, even with safety measures in place.
And the final chilling act, well, for now anyway. One night, also at 2:52 a.m., a notification woke them. 2 masked men, one holding a crowbar, shining flashlights into their windows.
A crowbar, that's unambiguous.
Right. The harassment continues to this day. They're terrified, recording everything, but feeling utterly powerless. This story just highlights how persistent, ambiguous threats can systematically destroy your sense of safety, even in your own home.
A truly nightmarish situation.
Okay, so we've explored the erosion of physical safety and those legal gray areas that kind of allow psychological intimidation to thrive. Our next account takes us deeper into the insidious manipulation of someone's internal reality.
The psychological front.
Yeah, the creeping dread that arises from a past relationship. The narrator recounts ending a 2-year relationship with a guy named Caleb. He wasn't violent physically, but she says he was controlling and possessive in that low-key and calculating kind of way.
Right, that subtle kind.
After the breakup, she did everything right, changed her number, disabled social media, even moved apartments, hoping to be in the clear.
This is a textbook example of coercive control. It's a tactic often chosen precisely because it leaves no physical evidence, yet it systematically dismantles a victim's internal world.
It's insidious.
It really is. It mirrors the strategic gaslighting and isolation techniques documented by researchers. Perpetrators create this sort of state of siege that makes escape feel impossible even when you're physically free.
So her sense of safety was just shattered by what she calls faces that all looked just slightly off. It started subtly. A barista, a total stranger, smiled and said, "Good morning, sunshine."
Okay.
That was Caleb's sarcastic nickname for it. He brushed it off. Coincidence, right? But that specific phrase, used in that context, it was a carefully chosen trigger.
Definitely. And that initial phase, it's designed to sow seeds of doubt. It's about disorienting the victim, making them question their own perceptions, their trust in their own sanity.
Gaslighting by proxy.
Essentially, yes. These seemingly innocent remarks are meticulously crafted to bypass rational defenses and trigger an emotional response, creating this sense of unease that you just can't logically explain away.
But the coincidences, quote-unquote, multiplied. A few days later, a rideshare driver, another stranger, asked if she ever figured out what she was running from. Caleb's exact words to her.
Wow. Okay, not a coincidence.
Not at all. Then a woman at the grocery store whispered, "You don't get to disappear." A guy on the street noted, "Still wearing your hair like that." A colleague hummed the exact tune Caleb used to play when they argued.
This is intense.
She said it wasn't just the different faces that freaked her out, it was the knowing look in their eyes. What's fascinating here is that consistent repetition of specific intimate phrases by complete strangers. It just transcends coincidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely. The consistent repetition of these deeply intimate and specific phrases by unrelated individuals combined with that knowing look, it immediately rules out coincidence.
So what is it?
It suggests a deliberate, coordinated effort, a network of proxies. This form of psychological tagging, let's call it, creates this pervasive sense of surveillance. It makes the victim feel constantly exposed, like their attempts to escape are completely futile.
Believing she was going crazy, the narrator contacted Caleb's sister, told her to make him stop. But the sister texted back that Caleb was actually in rehab, no phone, for 6 weeks.
Rehab?
Yeah, and a Facebook picture confirmed it, so it couldn't be Caleb directly, which just adds another layer of terrifying mystery.
Right, so who is doing this?
The torment just intensified. One night, a young man on a stoop across from her building, hoodie up, said, "Cold out tonight, huh? Sunshine." Didn't even look at her.
Ugh, that nickname again.
The next morning, her doormat was flipped over. Scribbled underneath was a terrifying message. "You can change your face too if you want, but I'll still recognize you." She said she vomited.
I don't blame her.
This moment discovering the message, this physical manifestation of the stalking, it marks a critical shift.
It absolutely does. This is where the psychological game becomes undeniably real, tangible. It moves from auditory and visual cues to direct physical evidence of invasion.
Yeah.
That message is designed to confirm her deepest fears, strip away any remaining sense of security or privacy. It makes the threat profoundly real, inescapable, and further erodes her sense of sanity. It's an assertion of omnipresence.
Desperate, she booked a hotel, didn't even pack clothes, just left.
Yeah.
But even there, 2 a.m., 3 slow knocks came at her door.
Oh, come on.
She looked through the peephole. A woman with a totally blank and expressionless face staring straight at the door. The front desk later confirmed her floor was vacant.
Yeah.
No one else should have been there.
That is deeply creepy.
That's when it clicked for her. These weren't random people. They were being sent and fed her details.
Yeah.
Caleb, in his obsession with control, had found a way to hire people. Maybe through some creepy, cultish roleplay crap forum he'd once mentioned, acting as his proxies.
That specific phrase, creepy, cultish, roleplay crap, that's chilling because it hints at a darker side of some online subcultures.
Right.
These are forums where individuals might engage in or even outsource these elaborate psychological operations, blurring the lines between, fiction and real-world torment. It's a deeply disturbing evolution of stalking.
Using the internet's anonymity.
Exactly, using anonymity and distributed effort to inflict this unique form of psychological torture. It's all designed to ensure she never stopped watching for him.
She moved again, disappeared from social media again, even dyed her hair.
Yeah.
And it worked. For a while. Until last week, a woman passed her on the street and said, "Still hiding behind book Sunshine."
It never ends.
This pervasive, inescapable paranoia is now, in her words, truly eating away at my mental health. This account just perfectly illustrates how psychological abuse can persist and evolve, creating this unending torment that attacks the very fabric of a person's reality.
Horrifying. Truly horrifying.
Okay, for our final account, we're shifting gears again. This takes us to a remote setting where the unknown itself becomes the terror. Imagine a big family trip, 18 people, looking to create new memories at one of Michigan's Great Lakes. They booked this spacious Airbnb, but because there were so many of them, some guests, including our narrator and 3 cousins, were assigned to sleep in a second building.
Okay.
A 2-story garage with bedrooms upstairs.
The garage annex. And the detail of it being outdated and neglected with, carpeted bathrooms that smelled like mold.
Yeah, and a poorly secured latch on the door.
Yeah.
It immediately establishes this tangible sense of vulnerability, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And isolation for those staying there.
Definitely. That neglect of the secondary space, it highlights a potential oversight and security, creates an immediate feeling of unease, sets the stage for what's to come.
And that feeling of unease began quickly. The narrator mentions having this rare intuition. She says it usually ends in a nightmare. She felt it come over her as her cousin complained about being stuck with the worst place.
Trusting her gut.
She warned her cousins to stay alert, especially since they'd all experienced a break-in before. That night, they were up late doing laundry, these small machines, one load at a time. The narrator made repeated trips alone downstairs.
Right, establishing she was moving around alone late at night.
Exactly. Around 3 a.m., after they were finally in bed, a loud bang hit the garage door. shook the entire building. Then a second bang, and a third, each one deafening. Finally, 2 cousins bolted upright. No wind, no animal could cause that kind of impact.
Okay, the timing again, 3 a.m., often culturally referenced as, the devil's hour or witching hour. Combined with these violent, unexplained impacts, it immediately shifts the narrative from maybe just an annoyance to something deeply menacing, deliberately frightening. It taps into that primal fear of the unknown, delivered with a forceful physical presence.
So at 4:11 a.m., they texted their aunt in the main house. She realized something serious was going on, woke her husband. The uncle ran outside to check the property.
Brave man.
The 4 cousins stayed frozen upstairs, just too afraid to move, until they heard knocking. It was the uncle, with their dad and older male cousins. There was someone on the property, the uncle said. The narrator's heart just sank.
Yeah, confirmation of their fears.
Once they were safely in the main house, they pieced together what happened. The uncle, described as a serious, logical man, said he saw a man behind the garage, not hiding or moving, but staring like he wanted to be seen.
Just staring.
When the uncle called out to him, the man didn't flinch. He simply walked away and vanished. Not into the darkness, the uncle stressed, but vanished into thin air. No crunching leaves, no footsteps.
Okay, wow. The uncle's description, especially the unreactive nature and the impossible disappearance, that introduces a strong paranormal element, doesn't it? Into what started as maybe a home invasion scenario.
It really does.
It defies logic, defies physical explanation, makes the horror truly unexplainable. This isn't just about a trespasser anymore. It's about a presence that can seemingly bend the rules of reality, intensifies the psychological impact immensely.
And then came another bizarre discovery. 2 gesture cards. One found in the main house, one in the garage. The one in the garage was described as twisted and demonic looking.
Gesture cards.
Yeah. A cousin pointed out that gestures symbolize mockery, tying it into the 3 a.m. bangs as if they were being deliberately taunted. This introduces this weird, almost ritualistic element.
Indeed. The gesture cards transform the incident from maybe a random act into a pointed, symbolic communication. If the man's disappearance defies logic, the cards provide a kind of narrative, implying a malicious intelligence that enjoys psychological torment.
Like a signature.
Exactly. A calling card. It adds another layer of malevolence.
So, understandably, they all crammed into the main house for the second night. The narrator's mother was sleeping on a couch by these large windows. She woke around 4 a.m. footsteps on the porch.
Oh no, not again.
She dared not open her eyes. Then she heard someone trying the basement door handle. That's where the boys were sleeping. The door rattled. By the time she got to it, no one was there. The boys were fast asleep, heard nothing.
Just missed them.
They left Monday instead of Tuesday. Vacation cut short. Theories started forming. Maybe someone was watching the narrator doing laundry, thought she was alone. Or perhaps something genuinely paranormal, given the gesture cards and the vanishing man.
It's the ambiguity.
Right. Her aunt noted a normal person would have run when spotted, but this man just watched and disappeared. The Airbnb host claimed she'd review camera footage above the garage door, but never responded, which just fueled suspicions.
Very suspicious. Makes you wonder about local involvement, or at least local knowledge.
This first big family trip, meant for new memories, instead left them with terrifying questions and the chilling realization that even in a remote, supposedly idyllic setting, they were not safe from the unknown.
Gives you chills just thinking about it.
3 deeply unsettling accounts then, each one challenging our fundamental sense of security in different ways. From the systematic erosion of physical safety in your own home, to the insidious psychological torment inflicted by manipulative control, to these truly inexplicable encounters that just defy all logic in an isolated setting.
And what connects these stories, I think, isn't just the fear they evoke, but that feeling of utter helplessness.
Yes.
In each case, the victims face situations where conventional help police, locks moving away, was either limited or entirely ineffective. It left them grappling with a reality that just defied explanation. It raises that important question. What do you do when the threats you face are beyond the scope of ordinary solutions? When the very mechanisms meant to protect you fail to grasp the nature of the attack?
These stories remind us that true horror isn't always about, visible monsters with claws and fangs. Sometimes it's about the gradual, calculated erosion of safety, the manipulation of your perception, and that terrifying realization that some things truly are unexplainable.
Yeah.
It leaves you wondering, doesn't it? How deeply integrated are these forms of psychological warfare and perhaps the inexplicable into our everyday lives? And what protective instincts do we truly have when faced with such ambiguous and pervasive threats?
Heavy questions.
We hope you found these insights as compelling and chilling as we did. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unsettling, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs.
Your support really helps us keep exploring these kinds of stories.
It does. We'll have more true tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay vigilant.
And perhaps double check your locks.